One of the things that I find in my comparatively new life in the Philippines is that because I don't speak English to people who are fluent in English, then I start to simplify the way that I speak, the vocabulary that I use, the way that I express myself. And so I find that it's a big help to go and look at my books again. Now, books have always been, I've always had a great influence on the way that I live my life, because they are an informal source of information, source of learning, and a way in which you can see how people who are accomplished wordsmiths express themselves. And they express themselves beautifully with a language that is all expansive. So some of the favorite books that I go to, this one is a great favorite of mine, and I rescued it. You're seeing it the opposite way around, but it's actually the complete stories of Truman Capote. And Truman Capote was he was extremely talented, extremely good with words, and he wrote some really beautiful stories. And one of the stories that I really enjoy is the one titled, in this book, titled A Christmas Memory. And he talks about how, as a very young child, around 5, 6 and 7, he lived with what was actually like an aunt. And the aunt was someone who was just not quite finished. And she was a wonderful character, full of heart and extremely wise, but as I said, she wasn't quite finished. So she was almost childlike, and she called Truman her buddy, and she called him buddy because she had had a love of her life earlier, her best friend she had called Buddy. So she called him Buddy after that. He never referred to her by her name, only that he would call her my friend. And their time together was especially poignant, and he loved her very much, and she was one of a kind. And it describes her first off in the story as an older lady with greying hair, which she tied in a bun at the back, and she wore a simple calico dress, and her face showed some of the heartache that she had experienced. But she treated him as just someone that was loved. He was only a child, but she treated him like a friend. And there's a few parts, and why I'm talking about this is because when you actually come here and you're an expat, you're a foreigner, whatever your language is, be it German or French or English, you will not get to express yourself fully. And so it's important that my suggestion is that if you don't have a friend with whom you can converse freely, then books are the next thing. But of course, you have to read them out loud, because by reading them out loud, your mouth actually has memory patterns for forming words and being skillful in how to say things. So this is at the time when it's Christmas, and they've received some presents, and it's just a very, very nice time. And I'd mark that out as something that anybody could appreciate and enjoy, even if they didn't know the full story. So here you are, this little child and this older lady who is a simple soul, and he's talking about her. He says, my friend has a better haul of Christmas presents, that is. A sack of satsumas, that's her best present. She is proudest, however, of a white wool shawl, knitted by her married sister. But she says her favourite gift is the kite I built for her. And it is a very beautiful, though not as beautiful as the one she made me, which is blue and scattered with gold and green, good conduct stars. Moreover, my name is painted on it, Buddy. Buddy, the wind is blowing. The wind is blowing, and nothing will do till we've run to a pasture below the house where Queenie, their little dog, has scooted to bury her bone, and where, a winter hence, Queenie will be buried too. There, plunging through the healthy waist-high grass, we unreel our kites, feel them twitching at the string like skyfish as they swim into the wind. Satisfied, sun-warmed, we sprawl in the grass and peel satsumas and watch our kites cavort. Soon I forget the socks. All he got for Christmas was a pair of socks and a hand-me-down sweater. I forget the socks and the hand-me-down sweater. This is a child talking. I'm as happy as if we'd already won the $50,000 grand prize in that coffee naming contest. My, how foolish I am, my friend cries, suddenly alert, like a woman remembering too late she has biscuits in the oven. You know what I've always thought? She asks in a tone of discovery, and not smiling at me, but a point beyond. I've always thought a body would have to be sick and dying before they saw the Lord. And I imagined that when he came it would be like looking at the Baptist window, pretty as coloured glass with the sun pouring through. Such a shine you don't know it's getting dark. And it's been a comfort to think of that shine taking away all of the spooky feelings. But I'll wager it never happens. I'll wager at the very end a body realises the Lord has already shown himself. That things as they are, her hand circles in a gesture that gathers clouds and kites and grass and Queenie pawing at earth over her bone. That things as they are, just what they've always seen, was seeing him. As for me, I could leave the world with today in my eyes, which I thought was particularly important and sad. Who could that be?
Darling.
Hello, honey.
I tried to find you. You're here.
What?
I tried to find you. You're here.
Didn't I tell you that I was going to be here?
No, I just wake up.
I'm doing what you would fall asleep to.
Yeah, you're reading books again? Are you not tired of reading books?
I'm never tired of reading books because it's the only time I get to speak English. Because I have to simplify it when I'm around.
If you want to learn English, I can teach you.
Can you? Will I have to start calling the light switch off? Will I off the light instead of turning the switch?
Okay, I'll let you go.
Okay, darling.
Read very well, okay?
Thanks for coming in.
Bye-bye.
So then the boy is taken away, and he is taken away by his father. He's been living with this family in the care of this lady, his friend, and he says, and this is the end of the story, says, this is our last Christmas together. Life separates us. Those who know best decide that I belong in a military school. And so follows a miserable succession of bugle-blowing prisons, grim, Rivali-ridden summer camps, I have a new home too, but it doesn't count. Home is where my friend is, and there I never go. And there she remains, pottering around the kitchen, alone with Queenie. And then, Buddy dear, she writes, in her wild, hard-to-read script. Yesterday, Jim Mace's horse kicked Queenie bad. Be thankful she didn't wrap much. I wrapped her in a fine linen sheet and rode her in the buggy down to Simpson's pasture, where she can be with all her bones. I've read this story so many times and it still really touches me. She can be with all her bones. For a few Novembers she continues to bake her fruitcakes single-handed, not as many but some, and of course she always sends me the best of the batch. And also in every letter she encloses a dime, wadded in toilet paper. See a picture show and write me the story, she says. But gradually in her letters she tends to confuse me with her other friend, the buddy who died in the 1880s. More and more, 13ths are not the only days she stays in bed. She would never get out of bed on the 13th. She thought it was bad luck, and she just stayed in bed on the 13th. So more and more, 13ths are not the only days she stays in bed. A morning arrives in November, a leafless, birdless coming of winter, when she cannot rouse herself to exclaim, "Oh my, it's fruitcake weather." And when that happens, I know it. A message saying so merely confirms a piece of news some secret vein had already received, severing me from an irreplaceable part of myself, letting it loose like a kite on a broken string. That is why, walking across a school campus on this particular December morning, I keep searching the sky, as if I expected to see, rather like hearts, a lost pair of kites hurrying towards heaven. So, if you're a foreigner and you read things like that, I think not only will your heart be touched, but you will learn the beauty of your own language. In my case, it's English. So, thank you for listening. I will include some stories about what I wrote. They won't always be quite so heart-searching as that, but nevertheless enjoyable. So thanks for being with me. Don't forget, if you enjoy what I do here, what we do here, it's important that you hit like and subscribe, because if you do that, YouTube, in its wisdom, will send our videos out to an ever-widening audience, which is really what we need in order to be able to continue doing what we do. Thank you and bye for now.